Good evening and welcome to the show, and for those of you watching on video, congratulations for having something better to do on the Friday night. I could have done that better, but I don't think I'll bother. In the news this week, after... Do you think so?
Go on, start again. Just for a laugh.
In Leicester, a passing policeman spots Jeremy Beadle outside a bar. There's a problem at the Horse of the Year show as one of the favourites accidentally swallows a pogo stick. And as sanctions begin to bite, the Iraqi army admits that constipation is becoming a major problem. On Ian Hislop's team is a much-loved, brilliant and talented, handsome and youthful songwriter who wrote the words to Evita, Chess and this introduction, Tim Rice. And with Paul Merton tonight, a man who, after leaving school, went on to run his father's garden gnome business, whilst his younger brother went on to become Prime Minister of Britain. Apparently John Major's still bitter about it. Terry Major Ball. Before we begin, we've received a communication from lawyers representing Ernest Saunders, the former Guinness chairman, who've asked for it to be made clear that, according to expert medical opinion, there was no possibility of Mr. Saunders having faked the symptoms of senility which accompanied his surprisingly early release from prison for theft, and from which he later unexpectedly recovered. A clarification we're all too happy to assist in. We're also all too happy to remind everyone that Ernest Saunders was a complete crook. And cheap con artist who cheated thousands of innocent people out of money that was rightfully theirs. I hope that's cleared everything up. So we tripped the light fandango into our opening film round. Ian and Tim, what's this suddenly in the news this week?
Oh, good. The peacekeeping force.
Jules Holland there.
Friendly mass murderer just there, and then someone famous's brother. Who's that? And then, it looks like,
It's a tank, Ian.
Oh, good. Thanks. The British Army hasn't had a tank for so long. What did it look like?
Well, this is Bosnia, of course.
Oh, I thought tanks had tops on, though, you know. Surely it's a armoured personnel carrier or something. I don't want to be picky,
I'm very
Ian.
glad you said that, Terry.
I don't want to be picky, Ian, but, you know, get it right.
What was the question?
Is that what you say to your brother most evenings?
Only Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Hasn't had any effect there, has it?
It's an ultimatum. We've said to the Serbs that if they don't behave, then, you know, we'll jolly well withdraw. And they're pretty scared.
The Daily Express has added its weight to the argument, exploring the crucial issue of whether or not to withdraw troops by eliciting the vital opinion of Pete Murray, who incidentally said that we should give it another week, watch the situation, and here's Black Lace with Agadoo.
That's more or less Douglas Hurd's line.
The Sun, for its part, has focused on the most critical element in the war for them, the arrival of the 62 Triple H-breasted model Pandora Peaks, specially flown over to do her bit for Bosnia. Still, she can't be any less effective than David Owen.
She'll never drown.
No, that's true.
She'll do a lot of damage if she explodes, though.
Paul and Terry, an odd couple for you.
The Sunday Times causes earache. She causes headaches. Tony Blair changing the name to the Tory party, that'll get us in, he thinks. Hugh Gates still having a bad time on Blind Date. And Mr Thatcher returns the power and John Major saying, well, I'll be off then.
I thought she was picking his
Tony Blair
pocket.
saying it's good news for Britain.
Are you sure she wasn't picking his
She might
pocket
be.
then?
Can we have a look at it again?
Yes.
See if Margaret Thatcher is picking John Major's pocket.
Well, it's never been done before, but I don't see why we can't. Can we have a look at that bit of film again, just to see whether she's picking his pocket?
Now, here we go. Where's the... here it comes. It's coming up. Well, yeah, she's had it. See, she's had it. He had his wallet, didn't she?
Obviously, the book's not doing that well.
Absolutely.
What is the news story?
Well, she's bringing out her memoirs in which she sort of says John Major is useless and Tony Blair's the best Labour leader since Hugh
It's
Gates.
a sort of love story.
Do you think it's any way a slur on your brother, the way in which she's being so complimentary about Tony Blair?
I haven't got a brother. So if I did, it would be a slur.
I just wanted to check that out.
Yeah.
It's a fair question, isn't it? I only wish I had an equally good answer.
Which you
What
clearly
about
don't.
yes, she's a silly cow? That'd be great.
Well, no, I would never say that about any lady.
But Mrs. Thatcher?
Now, you're trying to trap me, Angus. I think we'll avoid that one.
Okay.
We'll ignore him, shall we? Yes.
I wish we could. I think we should play records.
Yes. Chat amongst ourselves.
That's what people want. They want a good chat. It's all they want.
Yes. You could talk about that new magazine that's come out in opposition to Private Eye.
That's
couldn't we,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
No one's heard of it, Terry.
No, Private Eye. It's a magazine. You must have seen it. Lots of jokes about Edward Heath being a grocer, things like that.
It used to cost 90 pence when
he was
when he was a boy, but it's £1 now. That's when I stopped buying it. That's when it went up to £1.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I still read it, but I go into Smith's.
Yeah,
and steal it.
And it takes 10 minutes, doesn't it?
You can photocopy it for less than £1, actually.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ian and Tim, another highly respected elder statesman for you.
Well, this is David Lord Such, and that's a bank, and he's gone broke.
Well, he gets made bankrupt. He can't stand. That's right, isn't it?
Well, I think it would be a great tragedy for the nation if he was.
He's a great
up.
bloke, actually, Lord Such. I've met him on a couple of occasions, and he's...
Are you a member of his party?
Pardon? He does a great song with his hat on
He does
fire.
a terrible
doesn't he,
song
that one?
with his
Yeah. Oh, a great song with his hat on fire.
I don't argue with him. He probably knows if it's a good song or not.
Yeah, he probably wrote it, yeah.
Yes, it is the threatened extinction of the monster raving loony party after its leader, Screaming Lord Such, announced that he is facing financial ruin. Such has promised that if he does become Prime Minister, Ken Dodd will be asked to become Chancellor of the Exchequer and Frank Bruno will be Education Secretary. He hasn't announced who the Foreign Secretary would be, but Douglas Hurd must be in with a shout. Paul and Terry, the latest sleaze story for you.
Genuine...
Not another programme you're presenting, is it, Angus?
There's a sign there for naughty drinks. What's a naughty drink?
Naughty
Split crotch Pepsi or something like that. Peephole Kiora. I suppose it depends where you put the straw. Well, this is Westminster Council. Their job is to go round and make sure that there's no sort of sex being offered in these massage places, these massage parlours, and they visited one such establishment to make sure that no sex was on offer 18 times.
Did you mention the name of it?
No, I didn't mention the name of it, no.
Okay.
Major Ron's.
It's West One experience.
There's a particularly good one around the offices of the Eye that got caught recently. It says, you know, naughty girls come inside. And you go inside and a very large bloke hits you over the head and nicks your wallet.
And he got the idea off Margaret Thatcher.
Is that the club tie?
Council Licensing Director David Chambers said we had to pay 18 visits to make it stand up in court. Mr. Chambers is now available for pantomimes and private parties. And so, at the end of this first round, the scores are like a Tory backbencher in bed, with 4 on either side. Before tasting the delights of round 2, let's take our first tentative nibble at what will become our caption competition. Ian and Tim, this will be yours. Paul and Terry, this is yours. And so we welcome with open arms and closed minds our once popular What Happened Next round. 2 bits of film cut off in their prime. What historic event followed? Paul and Terry, a divine moment.
Get the doves, get the doves. Yeah, the dove, he throws the dove up and it circles around St. Peter's Square, lands back on its head, It's got very sticky feet and it's stuck there. And he has to wear that large hat for several months to disguise the fact that he's got a dove stuck to his head. And every time he walks past a nun, people hear the Pope going, coo.
Is that your answer then?
Oh, I think it's all to do with the doves and it's, you know, there's doves in it somewhere.
Yes.
And
He produces a handkerchief and more doves appear.
Yeah. It's either that or something to do with sewage, you know, something they left.
Right, so doves or sewage. You've narrowed it down to
we
those
think
two.
it's one of those two, yes.
OK, let's have a look at what in fact did happen. That was the papal dove, or pigeon, as these doves tend to be in reality, homing back to its master after an extremely short trip indeed. The birds were in fact white pigeons, a creature unique in its symbolic significance to Catholics for its grace, docility, and the fact that one couple can breed a family of 64 in a single summer. Ian and Tim, an international incident for you.
It's Clinton.
Yes, after this, somebody pointed out that he hadn't taken the lens covers off his binoculars, and these were removed.
And then he said, who's that amazing-looking broad on the beach? This is D-Day.
D-Day, during the war?
No, D-Day.
Yeah,
D-Day 50 years
then,
later.
wasn't he?
Oh, right.
Ridiculous.
But that's not what happened next. That's what happened 50 years ago.
Oh, I see.
OK, well, let's have a look and see what did happen next.
Spot on.
A knighthood.
It was Commander-in-Chief Bill Clinton at the border between North and South Korea. Clinton made a number of serious breaches of protocol at a dinner held in his honour by the Koreans. He addressed the Korean president's wife by the wrong title. He invited an interpreter to sit in the wrong seat. And worst of all, he told his main course to sit. Clinton is the first president since Richard Tricky Dicky Nixon to acquire a popular nickname in the American public. He's called Slick Willie. Slick referring to his famously coiffured hairstyle, and Willie, of course, referring to an affectionate term for Bill, which is what he calls his penis.
Must be a bit awkward for his wife then if the maid shouts out, there's another bill just come through the letterbox. I think it's urgent, it's red.
Does John have a nickname for himself?
I don't really know. We've never discussed it.
All of which surname like Major Ball, you just don't bother really.
Perhaps they call him Bouncer. Well,
Or they can put the word
think
sup
more in
on the end of
bouncing
it.
ball, you
Major
know.
Ball sup.
All of which stuff and nonsense signals the end of our second place round, and at this stage the wooden spoon looks as if it's going to neither team because they're both failing equally, neither being able to progress further than 6. Time now for... sorry to interrupt.
No, just only wish you'd speed it up a bit. The pub's shut at 10.
That'll work well at 10:15
Oh.
when it goes out. Time now for something that's odd out and of which there's only one. Yes, it's our missing words round. Sorry, no, our odd one out round. For sporting achievers, which one's the Ivory Coast? Paul, your multinational assortment contains Columbus Taylor, Snoop Doggy Dogg, Yusuf Islam, and John Major.
Yusuf used to be Cat Stevens, as we know. There's him in his sort of 60s heyday. He released a record called something like, Tim will probably remember the exact title, something like I'm Gonna Get Me a Gun, or...
No, he had one called, wasn't it I Love My Dog, which he's got a dog
I Love
there,
My
so it's
Dog, but there was one about a
unlikely
gun
he would-
as well.
But he wouldn't be promoting that one with a dog, would he? He'd be
No.
more likely to be
Well,
promoting...
it might be a dog he doesn't want.
They're all singers except the baby.
What are John's hits?
Oh, it's,
Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. No, I think it's got to be something about changing names or something, because Cat Stevens has changed his name at least twice, hasn't he? Because he wasn't born Cat Stevens. And John Major, well, there's this controversy. I don't know whether he actually did change his name from Major Ball or whatever, but if he did,
he didn't change his name.
No,
Your brother must have changed his name.
No.
How come we
Well,
got
how
different
come
names?
you're called Terry Major Ball without the sup? And he's called Hey You, Why Don't You Resign?
Well, it's all to do with what the father signs on the birth certificate. The ink was running out time he got round to John, and he only got as far as Major, and when he signed it, and left the ball off. So,
So he dropped the ball.
he dropped the ball. Yes.
Was this forgetfulness, or...?
No, the ink ran out of his pen.
The ink ran out of his pen.
It happens every
Doesn't
day.
listen, does
No,
he?
he's thick
It's a waste of time, really.
Stick
All
as
right,
pig shit,
just,
that one.
I'll give you a clue, if you like, which
Go on,
is... I will. It's Jean Kieran's.
Who's Jean Kieran's?
Well, it's a name that should mean something to Terry.
Yeah, she's... the only thing it means to me is that she's my daughter's godmother.
And she had an affair with someone?
No, not according to Terry.
Well, should we say
give you
your
more
brother's
clues.
the odd one out?
Yes, we'll say he's the odd one out. Definitely.
No, we're completely wrong.
No, it's Jean Kieran's.
Jean Kieran's isn't actually one of the four, Ian.
That's her when she was very young.
No, it isn't.
And after taking some pills.
You need some pills. It's that all of them have been named at some stage in their lives after a dog, with the exception of Yusuf Islam, who, as we know, was named after a cat. Columbus Taylor, 23rd in line to the throne, got his name from Lady Helen Taylor's childhood Labrador. Not that it's uncommon for members of the royal family to be given dogs' names. For centuries, the sons of reigning monarchs have been called Prince. John Major was given the nickname Rover by his lover Jean Kieran's during their affair in the 60s. She later said that she would have gone out with his older brother Terry, but apparently she was more attracted to the wild, rebellious one in the family. Terry, the stuff of legends for you. Mrs. Thatcher.
She's a novelist, isn't she?
Well done. Lord Nelson, the Bastille, and Huey P. Long.
One ought to be in the Bastille. The honest answer is I haven't a clue.
Only one of them had an affair with Lady Hamilton.
Which was the Bastille. She went for the turrets, apparently. The Bastille's the odd one out. Next question. Is it Chubby Checker?
It's a strange feeling of déjà vu. It's that...
I thought you'd say that.
I'll tell you the answer is that all of them have days named after them in various parts of the world, except for Lord Nelson, who is the subject of a campaign to have a bank holiday named after his victory at Trafalgar. Margaret Thatcher Day is a public holiday in the Falklands, when the pubs are full, the beer's flowing, and the sheep are just slightly apprehensive. Bastille Day commemorates the occasion when a gang of French shopkeepers managed to break into the most heavily fortified prison in France, which was a blow for the security firm who'd just taken over there, Le Groupe Quatre. Tim, your four pillars of the establishment are Winston Churchill MP, Tom King MP, the Prince of Wales, and Ernest Saunders. It's a sporting question.
Sporting question. Oh, well, Tom King is a very good cricketer, captain of the Lords and Commons cricket team. Prince Charles...
And the others aren't.
Yes.
Is Ernest Saunders the only one who has flashing letters in front of him that makes him difficult for him to meet new people?
Prince of Wales. Quite a sporting chap.
Where is he? He looks like he's in an Egyptian lavatory.
Those hieroglyphics say, now wash your hands.
Well, I will, at a pinch, I suppose, give one to Paul for saying Ernest Saunders, because the answer is that they're all in the houses of Parliament's ski team, apart from Ernest Saunders, who, of course, couldn't even contemplate such an energetic pursuit, having only recently recovered from a debilitating illness, as this photograph clearly shows. Prince Charles is eligible by virtue of being a member of the House of Lords and came second in the slalom race, the first and third naturally being the two bodyguards escorting him. And finally, in this round, Ian, Princess Diana, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jeffrey Archer, and Paul Merton.
That's not fair. I was very ill that day.
It is actually taken from the Sunday
It's
Mirror
an easy
magazine.
one you've given him here, isn't it?
I think this is a bodybuilding question. The odd one out is obvious. Unless you count bodybuilding the Pavarotti way.
This is a bit difficult to take from a bald-headed short arse.
Good to see that legendary repartee in action.
You started it.
Cleverest man in England. Bald-headed short arse.
You know your name. You're all right.
Yeah.
This is about people who go to gyms to build up their body. Princess Di goes
Well, how
to
do you think I got that neck?
the Princess of Wales goes to the Harbour Club, this gym, and builds up her body. And Jeffrey Archer was also a bodybuilder. This is one of his other careers. There's this biography just come out, and it's revealed that Archer got a place at Oxford on the grounds that he already had a degree. And he said he had a degree in physical education from an American university. And it turned out he'd sent away to a newspaper ad, and he'd got a degree in the Charles Atlas School of Bodybuilding.
Just to put the record absolutely straight, Ian, Jeffrey Archer got into Oxford University partly on the strength of a letter sent by his employers, Dover College, claiming that he was a fellow of the International Federation of Physical Culture at the University of California. Archer had indeed joined the International Federation of Physical Culture, but it wasn't so much a degree course as a bodybuilding course advertised in Titbits. Which tissue of Archers heralds the end of this penultimate round, and the story so far is that Paul and Terry have a puny 7, whereas Ian and Tim boast a muscle-bound 9. And so to the organised chaos that is our final missing words round, our guest publication, from which one or two headlines with any luck won't be taken, is the unmissable Public Hygiene Quarterly. So, English judges are whatest in Europe?
Sexiest. Hardest.
Bestest.
Best. Harshest is the right
Harshest.
answer.
I don't suppose Ernest Saunders thinks so.
But do you think so, Ian?
Well, I just...
Your lips are sealed, obviously.
Right.
Say what to blocked urinals?
Not today, thank you.
I don't know the answer, but I think it begins with B, doesn't it?
Say goodbye to blocked urinals. Say goodbye and never worry again.
Is absolutely right. Goodbye forever to blocked urinals. Next, what is getting tight, says Fergie.
Pool C in the Rugby World Cup.
Obviously accurate, Tim, but not the right answer.
Shell suit.
It's just money, isn't it?
Money is getting tight, says Fergie, which she confessed as she returned from Bermuda this week. Next, why what is like a hamster?
Dizzy Gillespie.
Dizzy
Gillespie is part of a riddle. Why Dizzy Gillespie is like a hamster, they can both puff their cheeks out. It's a Christmas riddle in a cracker.
Why a guinea pig?
Michael Winner.
No, you just heard me say
Michael
Michael
Jackson.
No, not Michael Jackson.
Michael
Caine.
Parkinson.
This could take a while.
Michael Heseltine.
Is the right answer. Well done. And finally, what ate my undies?
Michael Winner.
Crabs?
Thought. No. It's a lovely image, Tim. Thank you.
Decor.
Dust is in fact the rather curious answer, which verbal blind man's buff brings us to the end of both the round and the contest, the result of which is that this week's garden gnomes are Ian and Tim with 12, whilst this week's laughing gnomes are Paul and Terry with 14. So our winners join the Premier League, our losers join the Human League. But before they leave us, they must first negotiate the final hurdle that is our caption competition. Paul and Terry.
Oh, no. God. World record attempt for number of cones on head unexpectedly stops earlier than expected.
British space project.
New Ku Klux Klan milliner fails audition.
Ian and Tim.
Oh, my long-lost son.
I'm not sure who was saying that, but thank you.
Only 2 entries for Mrs. Thatcher lookalike competition.
The man with very large penis stands at the back of the room. It could happen. That's my fear.
Yeah. It's
And the bloke who's got the little blue book to the right said, "There's no need for that, Brian." And the bloke in the glasses and the little lapel thing there is saying I could rest me beer on that.
It's all too plausible. And I leave you with news that at the important American Land Rights Conference, disaster strikes for Chief Sitting Bull when the wind suddenly changes direction. In Lincolnshire, British Telecom investigates reports that rhinos have begun nesting up telegraph poles. And the Swedish parliamentary ski team limbers up for the Winter Olympics. Good night.